Hello, good evening and a very warm welcome to the Hot Seat. In the Hot Seat today, the first of these programs in 2017, we have got a household name. And we're very pleased to welcome onto our set this evening Mr. Hema Lalindra Ranawaka. And you're all probably wondering who on earth that is. Well, who on earth that is has a better known name. And he is the one, the only, the very inimitable Kolu. Good evening, Kolu, and warm welcome to the show.
Good evening.
And indeed, that's what you're known as, isn't it? Kolu.
Well, it's a pet name which has got stuck to me, and I'm quite happy with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And how on earth did Kolu must be one of the most famous brands that there is in Sri Lanka today? How did it all happen? Who's your PR agent?
I wish I had a PR agent. I may have got very far with a PR agent, but I am my own PR agent.
Right.
Well, in the sense that I really don't know how all this fame came to me, it was thrust upon me. So here I am, happily accepting it.
And enjoying it?
Of course, yes, it's very useful at times.
You've got such a repertoire behind you. Celebrity chef, drag artist, all sorts of things. Which do you enjoy most?
I like to be recognized as a chef.
Right.
Right. But all the other things I have done just to kill my boredom.
Right.
So that's how all the drag artists came, writing columns in the newspaper,
right,
and all these things come with my boredom. So that keeps me going.
And when you were writing, what did you enjoy writing most about?
Well, I have a column, it's about Colombo satire, so it's quite fun writing because they're all true stories, which doesn't make me the most popular person in Colombo at times.
Yes.
Weekly I have different enemies, so that's fine.
And weekly you have different friends.
Friends, yes. So it's fun.
And you don't name names, do you?
No, unless I am praising them for some effort, because there are some people who are very noteworthy who have done fantastic things. And if I do go across to one of their functions or one of their shows or something, I like to. If I like it, I always praise them. And
Kolu, when you are in the limelight, as you are constantly in the limelight, and how does it feel to be constantly in the limelight? When you go shopping or when you go to the supermarket, I'm sure people say, that's Kolu.
The thing with supermarket shopping is quite fun because it's they will ask you for some suggestion to buy in the supermarket, what is better than this, maybe how to cook something, and that's quite nice at times. And if you're not in a hurry, I'm happy to explain to them and tell them something.
Oh, really?
So that part is nice.
You must disclose where you shop. But amongst all this, what do you detect? What do you see? What in your view, what do you detect as the most sort of pressing issue that is on people's minds in our country today?
I think everybody's striving to make money. Yeah. And I find that there are a lot of people who are below. I don't know this, to be careful with politically correct in some of the words you use. But there are a lot of people who are struggling, and I feel that they all, they're all striving to earn and get more money to feed their children, educate their children, because one thing which is good for us, what I see, is that all these employees we have, or who I used to have, or when I train, I see that they all want to educate their children.
Indeed.
And owing to that, they're striving to make money, which makes things difficult for them.
Yes. Khalid, have you come across this, that the people in Sri Lanka, our fellow Sri Lankans, are pretty good at giving?
A lot of people are very good at giving, and it's always nice to see somebody or hear of somebody who's doing something without seeking too much of publicity.
Indeed.
Right, because sometimes you find people, social media is such a terrible thing. Everybody gets their 2 minutes of fame. Yeah. So even if they want to give a rice packet to 200 beggars, someone put that on Facebook.
Right.
Which I find, those things I find it a bit
Distasteful?
Distasteful. But there are a lot of people who do a lot of good things.
Yeah.
And one must be happy to recognize them.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have a giving nation, fortunately.
Indeed, the Sri Lankan's giving nature is probably what helps a large amount of people to survive.
Yeah.
And have you, when you watch television, have you noticed what Gammadda does?
Yeah, I have seen that, and I always watch it because I see this on social media again, and I'm very happy to see, especially, of course, the giving of houses, building houses, etc., but also the fact that they're publicizing the fact about things like garbage and water issues, because it's terrible to think we're in such a small island where there's so much going on. There are certain areas which don't have proper drinking water, nor do they have electricity, which I think is just basic human right. I mean, you hear ridiculous sums of money being spent on this and that, but then here are these people who don't have basic, drinking water. And that I find disturbing.
Indeed. And on that note, we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back after this short message. Don't go away. After all, this is The Hot Seat. And welcome back to The Hot Seat, where tonight we are joined by Kolu, that absolutely fabulous celebrity chef. Kolu, so tell us, when did you get into the cooking business? When did the cooking bug start?
The cooking bug started when I was a child. It was a hobby, turned into a profession.
Right.
So for me, I had never felt that I ever worked in my life.
Right.
Because I've always enjoyed cooking. Right. And I have certainly not done any, gone to a hotel and worked, on proper shift or anything like that. That doesn't work with me.
Right.
So it's always catering, restaurants, all these things. And when I was abroad, I had worked for an ambassador, I had worked for a millionaire, things like that. So it has all been a fun project for me.
Right.
So I started at the age of 15. And now I'm 56 and yet, at the tail end of it now.
Right. And where abroad have you worked?
I went to Iraq to work for the Portuguese ambassador there, from Portugal. And then when the war broke out, they took me to Portugal. So I lived 9.5 years in Portugal, which was fantastic.
For the same ambassador?
No, they went off somewhere and I went roaming on my own there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was great fun. So I have cooking and cooking. That's all I've been doing. I traveled a lot cooking.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your involvement in cooking still goes on?
Yes, I don't own any place, so I don't do anything, but I set up restaurants for other people. So that's what I do at the moment.
And do you spot, now that you said that it's at the tail end of your career, do you spot, have you spotted lots of up-and-coming chefs who are making their mark?
Yeah, surprisingly there aren't so many there are a lot of talented people, but I haven't seen a star yet in the younger generation.
Right.
There are a few people here now, and I think one of the biggest things, we lack a proper hotel school here.
Right.
So that has to be done, considering the amount of thousands of hotels coming up and all the big brands. I don't know where they're going to find where you're going to get employers for these hotels.
Maybe from India under the ETC.
They'll get from somewhere, because we do not have a hotel school enough to send out students into these hotels.
So you are a island-wide known brand, and so I'm wondering whether you've ever been approached by some government agency, the tourist board, or something like that, to play some...
No, nobody has approached me for anything. Once I got involved with something, some standardization program, the tourist board, but then once based on all our Saturdays, Sundays doing this thing for almost a year, and then the chairman was thrown out, and lo and behold, we were all, suddenly this whole project was gone to shreds,
Well, there you are.
And 1 year wasting good weekends, so that after I decided never again to this.
But what do you do at your weekends?
I become very lazy now, really. I watch a lot of movies.
Right.
I tend to go out of Colombo if I can, but that again not so much.
Right.
But I enjoy watching movies. I'm a movie buff like that, so it's
Right.
fantastic.
And who do you still experiment in cooking? And
Yes, I do.
who are your victims?
Victims are a few of my friends. I just have a handful of friends. They are the victims at times.
Right. So you try these new dishes out on
Yeah, and of course when somebody wants something for their restaurant or something which I have set up, it's always an experiment first before you go and teach it. So in that way I do it.
Right.
So that's friends are the victims.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you feel that there are too many high sort of taxes and duties that prevents
yes.
the restaurants from being more?
For sure, because our tax, if you look at your bill when you pay at the restaurant, at the end of this thing, you're paying almost 35% more of your total bill.
Right.
Towards taxes.
Right.
Also, the food costs are very high in this country.
Right.
So we can't give more affordable meals. Are not possible.
Right. And have you sometimes thought of challenging authority and getting involved in some form of activism to try and change that?
I had never done anything of the sort.
Right.
But because I do not run huge establishments nor do things, it's other people who should.
Right.
Because I think they should get something. Again, here I think a lot of the people are not paid enough.
Indeed.
That is why mainly our staff run out in this country, the Middle East, Dubai, anywhere they offer a job, because their salaries are very low. And I think the staff should be given a lot of money. Paid salary should be higher.
Well,
they had to depend on service charges here.
Somebody who met me recently said, was talking on the lines that you are now, and told me that, look, it's very unfair because these hotels charge you dollar rates and are paying in rupees to their staff. And he said there's no, he can't see the relevance in terms of the pay between the room rate and the average salary of
course, that's very true. Because, I don't know, I mean, they expect the staff to enjoy more, they give them a basic salary, which is very low.
Yeah.
And expect them to survive on the service charge. So I can't understand this. You know, they both must match equally, I think. Mm-hmm. And that's when I set up a restaurant, I always tell the people who own it, please pay your staff properly. In that way, you won't have a turnover of your chefs, which either you train a chef and they run away. Why? Because obviously, when they get a bit off, you can't blame them.
Indeed.
It's for their survival, no?
Indeed. On that note, time for another break. Don't go away. After all, this is the Hot Seat. And welcome back to the Hot Seat. Good evening. And joining us this evening is the one and only Kolu, celebrity chef. Kolu, have you come across this sort of syndrome almost that Sri Lankans tend not to like their own food? And it's always sort of they hanker, almost hanker after a sort of an international menu.
Yeah. It's quite funny. Sri Lankans love Sri Lankan food.
Yes.
But they do not want to show this thing. Colombo is full of pseudo-Europeans here. They all act as if they don't know this steak and that steak and this chateau, this wine. I mean, the nonsense which goes on. You had to watch it. I'm sure you watch it when you go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
And all this thing. And they do not, when you ask somebody to set up a Sri Lankan restaurant, they say no, but our cook at home makes good Sri Lankan food. Why would people want to come and eat? We can never understand. We are the only country in Asia who do not have enough of its own local cuisine. And the sad part is, even the cooks or chefs or whatever you call them, they don't even know how to make a curry. They will know how to make Chinese food, Italian food, any kind of continental cuisine, good or bad, but they don't know how to use our local spices. So it's about time, because to take I mean, we are, this is the part of the pseudo-European thing. You go to a huge buffet or you go to a party where they have this risotto and so on and so forth. You had hoppers, there will be a queue for the hoppers. You go for a dance, they'll be dancing all the time to all kinds of music. As soon as the baila comes, they will all run to it. So basically, we want Sri Lankan, we are Sri Lankan in our heart, but we want to show the whole world we are pseudo-Europeans. We try to be Europeans. So I can never understand why we are ashamed of our own culture, our own hotels. Look at the decor. They do not have anything Sri Lankan. They are ashamed to use brass lamps. They are ashamed to use batik. You know, they are nothing. There are nothing local about Sri Lanka. You go to Thailand, you go to Vietnam, you go to any of those countries, all their beautiful local produces there, the national costumes, everything. Here are girls in tight skirts, which don't even make them look nice. Men in suits. I mean, they're nothing Sri Lankan. I know why I know how they promote Sri Lanka here so much with nothing Sri Lankan about Sri Lanka. It's a very sad point.
I was about to ask you if that makes you sad.
It makes me very sad, and I can't understand. Then, of course, we have everyone critic. No, this one says we are the number one destination. This is number two destination. But when you speak to individuals, when you especially if you fly in aircraft, people will always say you all have a beautiful country, but you had terrible food, and you all don't show anything uniquely Sri Lankan. I've spoken to many people who have said this, and it's quite sad that we are not offering them the proper Sri Lankan foods and our traditions and all our good ways we have.
And what do you detect in terms of service delivery in hotels, in restaurants?
Well, you see the service, most places, unfortunately again, they are not very good, well-trained staff. So you may find the PR in most places not good because I don't know how, there's so many hotels opening up and how they are going to find employees, as I said before. And we don't have the best service levels here compared to other Asian countries.
And that can be corrected by better training?
Better training, again I said, more hotel schools. You cannot have fancy hotel schools we charge a lot of money because our people do not want to, because the person who wants to get in the industry now can't afford it. So it has to be some kind of a national training or something like that. A lot of hotels actually have taken that, where they train people from the villages itself and tried that. So few of them have done some worthwhile things, you know.
As we come towards the end of our evening today, Kalu, can you tell me, was there a moment that you suddenly realized and it suddenly hit you and you sat there and thought, hey, I am a celebrity? Did you have such a moment? And then what did you do? How do you cope?
I have never had that. Well, I suppose everybody recognizes me because of all the antics I'm up to here.
Yeah.
You know, with the good, bad or indifferent. I'm actually a mystery to a lot of people. But they don't know what's going to come out of me, you know.
Yeah.
People are very cautious with me because I used to, I'm a very calm person, yell at someone in public or, you know, so I think I was like a sort of an enigma to a lot of people. And that's fun actually. But it never got into my head. I'm not one of these people who say, oh, I am the greatest and I'm fine. I know a few people like that in our industry, which are quite, I find self-promotion quite embarrassing, even though that's a thing these days, you know, where you go on Instagram and Facebook and whatever and push. I'm happy with what I have. Very content with my life.
And if you were to do anything differently in your life, what would it be?
That's a very good question. But then again, I always think I had done a lot of bad things in my life.
Yeah.
But then again, I think, well, if for every bad thing I did and got into a mess, something good came out of it. So I think I wouldn't want it any other way. From all the bad, only good came out of it.
And your spices, what are you called?
Spice it up.
By Kalu.
Yeah.
Your way.
That's my cookery book. It's my way.
It's your way.
Yeah.
And your way, are you satisfied with your way?
Yeah, I'm very happy with it.
Wonderful. Kalu, thank you very much for being on the hot seat, and we really appreciate your presence, and we wish you all the very best in your retirement.
Thank you. I had a great time too.
Thank you very much. And that's it from the hot seat this evening. We'll see you again, same time, same place next week. Each Wednesday, straight after the news at 9:30. Take care and good night.